Okay, so in our last lecture, in our last topic, we were at question number 5 and 5a and 3. So I'm again reading that question. That question is related to this risk. Basically, risk can arise due to change in circumstances. Comment and point out the circumstances which results into risk for an entity. Means what all other circumstances through which the risk can arises in an enterprise. So this point we need to learn here. So answer of this question is here. Just give me a moment. That is here. Risk, basically risk relevant to reliable financial reporting. We know that risk is associated, even internal and external factors could be and transactions and circumstances that may adversely affect their entity ability to initiate, record, process, and basically that affect an entity to not to achieve its goals. And management may initiate plans, programs, or actions to address specific risk, or it may decide to accept a risk because of cost or other considerations. Now, risk can arise or change due to circumstances such as the following. Means risk can arise or change due to circumstances. What all other circumstances? They are thinking that this risk arise भी हो सकता है and change भी हो सकता है. So operating environment if change, अगर operating environment change हो गया, that is the chances that where changes in the regulatory or operating environment can result in changes in the competitive pressure and significantly differentiate different risks. Now change न्यू पर्सनल्स, न्यू मैनेजमेंट अगर हायर हो गया है तो वो पुरानी चीज़ों को इतना अंडरस्टैंड नहीं करेगा, इंटरनल चीज़ें नहीं जानता होगा. दैट इज़ मोर लाइकली काइंड ऑफ अ रिस्क. एंड न्यू एंड रिवैम्प्ड इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टम, दैट इज़ ऑल्सो अ टेक्नोलॉजिकल रिस्क कैन अराइज. रैपिड ग्रोथ, it basically significant and rapid expansion of operations can strain controls and increase the risk of breakdowns in controls. Okay, so new technology is also associated with the risk. Incorporating new technologies into production process or information system may change the risk associated with the internal control. Now new business models, products and activities. Yes, new business model, products and activities could definitely impact an organization. So entering into business areas or transactions which an entity has little experience may introduce new risk. Then corporate restructuring, this can also hamper risk. HR risk, there are various risks that are associated with the corporate structuring. Expanding foreign corporate operations, when we are operating outside also, then we also have such kind of a risk. The expansion or acquisition of foreign operations carries new and often unique risk that may affect internal control. For example, additional and changed risk from foreign currency transactions. Now new accounting pronouncement, that means adoption of new accounting principles can also lead to risk, or changing accounting principles may affect in preparing financial statements. So this was basically the risk. Now we have another question of this topic, that is internal check refers to allocation of duties. Means internal check, what we were doing, that we are allocating duties in specific way, that so that no one is responsible for all phases of transaction. So we need to explain that what are the essential feature of internal check in the statements. So we know that internal check refers to allocation of duties in such a manner that one work of one person is directly checked by another, while other is performing his own duties in a normal way. So there is a hierarchy that one's work is checked by another. So internal check is an organization of duty of staff in specific way, so that no one is responsible for all phases of the transactions and work on one employee is distributed, that discrepancies are revealed in the process of performance of duties of that employees. Now, the duties are divided and subdivided in such a manner that discrepancy flow out from the system itself. Now, essential features. What all are the features that internal checks are given under? There should be a proper division of work and responsibility. Okay, proper division of work. Now, duties of each person should be properly defined. Okay, so as to fix defined responsibility of each individual. Possibility of giving absolute control to anybody should not be left out unchecked. Means अनचेक नहीं होना चाहिए कुछ भी चीज़ें, अनचेक नहीं होना चाहिए किसी का काम. दैट हैज़ टू बी प्रॉपरली चेक्ड. टू मच कॉन्फिडेंस ऑन वन पर्सन शुड बी अवॉइडेड. वी शुड नॉट give too much duty to some single person. Also, the duties of staff should be rotated and one person should not be allowed to occupy in a particular area of operation for a long time. Okay, necessary safeguards should be provided so as to avoid collision of thoughts which quite often lead to commission of fraud, and the person handling cash, stock, securities should be given compulsory leave so as to prevent their having interrupted control. Now, physical inventory of fixed assets and stock should be taken periodically. It should not be like on paper we were checking, so it has to be a physical verification of various assets. Assets should be protected from unauthorized use. Okay, so prevent losses. To prevent most losses or in misappropriation of cash, mechanical devices such as automatic cash registers should be employed. Now, the financial and administrative powers should be distributed very judiciously among different officers and in a manner in which these are actually exercised should be reviewed periodically. Now, the accounting procedures should be laid down for periodical verification and testing of different sections of accounting records to ensure that they are accurate enough. Okay, so we have another question, and last is this for this topic, that is, what is the code of ethics? Code of ethics they were talking. So we have just two questions, that is of 5 marks each. Code of ethics and code of conduct are often confused or used interchangeably. So we need to discuss about this thing. So, and another question we have, that is a concept and need to apply triple bottom approach for CSR. This is very simple. So we were doing first question first, that the terms of codes of ethics and code of conduct are often mistakenly used interchangeably. Means code of ethics and code of conduct we basically used interchangeably sometimes. They are in fact two unique documents. Code of ethics which governs decision making and code of conduct which governs actions, represented two common ways that companies self-regulate. Now, what are the similarities in code of ethics and code of conduct are similar as they are used in an attempt to encourage specific forms of behavior of employees. Now, ethics guidelines attempted to provide guidance for values and choices to influence decisions. Also, conduct regulation asserted that some specific actions are appropriate, others inappropriate. In both the cases, the organization desired to obtain a narrow range of acceptable behavior from employees. Now, what are the differences? With the similarity, it comes with the differences also. Both are used in an attempt to regulate behavior in very different ways. Ethical standards generally are wide-ranging and non-specific, designed to provide a set of rules, values and guidelines, decision-making approaches that enable employees to make independent judgments about most appropriate course of action. Now, the code conduct standards generally require little judgment. Here. You obey or incur a penalty. That code provides fairly set of expectations about which actions are required, acceptable or prohibited. Now, violation of code of ethics may not lead to action. Means if we were violating code of standards, then a code of conduct, then it could be a violation. But code of ethics may not lead to any violation. Okay, may not lead to any action against the employee. But violation of code of conduct may lead to disciplinary action. So, what is that code of conduct is more stringent here. So now we have a triple bottom approach, that is TBCA. triple bottom line they were talking about, what it is all about. So with the broader concept of corporate social responsibility, as we know, the concept of triple bottom line is gaining significance and becoming popular amongst corporate. Now it is popular amongst corporate. Coined in 1997, John Ellington, noted management consultant, the concept of triple bottom line is based on premises that the business entity have more to do than just make profit. Business entity has to do more than just for the profit. For the owners of the capital, only bottom line people understand, like it has a triple P. P, P, it has a P, P and P. So these three, people, planet and profit. We could people, planet, profit. ज़्यादा हो गया. So only triple bottom line people understand, people, planet, profit, is used succinctly describe the triple bottom lines. People, basically they are related to human capital, pertains to fair beneficial business towards labor and community and region in which a corporate conducts its business. Planet, basically natural capital, refers to sustainable environment practices. It is lasting economic impact the organization has on its economic environment. Now a triple bottom line, company endeavors to benefit the natural orders as much as possible, or at least do not harm and curtail environmental impact. Now profit is bottom line shared by all commerce. So people, we know that the human capital, planet we know, environment and also profit. So we need to work for all three, we need to consider all three P's in the mind while we are running the business. The need to apply the concept of triple bottom line is caused due to increased customer sensitivity to corporate social behavior, growing demand of transparency from shareholders, stakeholders, now increased environmental regulation, legal cost of compliance and defaults concerning global warming, also increased social awareness about willingness of respecting human rights, media attention of social issues, growing corporate participation in social upliftment. So these are the things which we need to apply triple bottom line approach. I'm again reading this. First is that increased customer sensitivity to corporate social behavior. Customer sensitivity has increased to corporate social behavior. Now growing demand for transparency from shareholders, stakeholders, increased environmental regulations, legal cost of compliance and defaults, concerns over global warming, increased social awareness about and willingness of respecting human rights, and media attention to social issues. Now the growing corporate participation in social upliftment. So these all are the things that comes under the triple bottom line. So we have finished this module 1. Now we'll start another paper from another guidelines for module 1. Thank you.